What's up, everybody? It is Red Jet Rat. Back with you to review the latest pro wrestling news and results. Right now, right here, Wrestling Rants for another shot on a Sunday. It's the second rant of the day. We're going to take a look at Impact Sacrifice from Friday night. Finally getting to the MEGARANT of this show. Lots of information coming down. Lots of bit of controversy leading into this event on Friday night. I guess let's just talk about that from the outset. Both world champions in Impact, Mickie James and Josh Alexander, out with injuries on this show. Leading to the show, changes had to be made, and they've come up with a game plan. So I guess first let's talk about the changes that were made on Sacrifice as it pertains to these two competitors. For Mickie James, she was supposed to face Jordynne Grace for the Knockouts title. That match didn't happen. Jordynne Grace did not appear on this pay-per-view at all. They didn't do a replacement match or anything like that. Instead, they made an edit that happened later on in the show when Mickie James was being interviewed in a backstage segment to talk about her injury. She mentioned that she had a broken rib, which I don't know where that came from. If that was from, perhaps, it's possible, that match, that mixed tag match from Vegas, which I believe is the last match that Mickie James had worked, at least in Impact. Maybe that was where the injury happened. It could have been a match after the fact that she did at a different location, a different organization. But apparently she got a broken rib. Possibly, maybe we'll make it to the big pay-per-view Rebellion in the middle of April, but there is really no timetable on her return at this point. So what they're doing is a few things. They obviously didn't have a Knockouts title match on this show, but they are having Jordynne Grace advance to Rebellion to get her Impact Knockouts Championship match on that show. She will face the winner of a match at Multiverse United this coming Thursday in LA between Giselle Shaw, Deonna Purrazzo, Masha Slamovich, and coming in from Japan, Miyu Yamashita. So we'll see where they go with that. Theoretically, then that winner of that match would take on Jordynne Grace at Rebellion for the not yet vacated Knockouts Championship. It may be vacated, but right now they're continuing to essentially have Mickie James hold that championship until it's determined that she will or will not compete at Rebellion. If she can compete, that match will be a triple threat at Rebellion for the Knockouts Championship. If she obviously can't, that matchup becomes a one-on-one match with Jordynne Grace against the winner of that match at United or Multiverse United for the Knockouts Championships. That's the situation with the Knockouts Championship. For the World Championship, not as complex. Steve Maclin took the place of Josh Alexander in the six-man tag main event on this show against Team of Time Machine, which includes Kushida and the Motor City Machine Guns. So that was an easy way on booking-wise to make the change. The other part of it is a little bit different. Steve Maclin will take on Kushida at Rebellion in the main event at that pay-per-view for the vacant Knockouts World Championship. Now, I kind of got the feeling even before the Josh Alexander injury that Steve Maclin was being kind of groomed to become that next Impact World Champion, and this just further, I guess, illustrates that probably is going to happen here, because chances are we're going to see Maclin defeat Kushida and start that reign as Impact Championship. Wouldn't be shocked if perhaps at Bound for Glory then we'll see Maclin against Josh Alexander when he comes back from his injury. I believe this was a triceps injury that took him out. I'm not sure where it happened. He just worked the AAA World Cup match on Sunday night. I do wonder if it happened there. Nothing was noticeable in the in-ring work that he was hurt. But I would think if he was at that show, I doubt he worked anything Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Chances are it's probably where he got injured and already had the surgery. I think he just had the surgery already on Friday. So he's ready to recover at this point. Probably a timetable of around 6 months. That would put it around Bound for Glory time in Chicago, where I will probably be at that show, by the way. Just as a heads up, I'm thinking about getting that full package deal that they've been advertising on Impact for the shows in April, at the end of April, TV tapings at the end of July as well, and then Bound for Glory and Bound for Glory Fallout all in one ticket package, which I'm going to look into that because I think it's a pretty cool little thing that Impact's doing, going back to Chicago for 3 times this coming year, and I'd like to be at all those tapings for sure. So that's kind of the deal with the World Championship and the Knockouts Championship. Going into this show, they talked about a lot on the pay-per-view. It was addressed almost endlessly. It was a big point of conversation for sure. So that's where it's at. That's where they're going to go. Like I said, I expect Steve Macklin to get that Impact Championship. I'd love to see Kushida with a run. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think it's in the books right at the moment. As far as the Knockouts Championship, I kind of feel like Mickie James will probably make it for the match, but I do think that this is an excuse to get the title off of her, and maybe, I guess we'll see who wins this 4-way match at Multiverse United. I think they really need to focus and move forward with Masha Slamovich. Just my opinion. She's hot right now. If you look in the back here, there's something going on in the back of television. I've been watching Battle of Los Angeles from this past year. It was in January, and she looked great on that show. She just consistently puts on good matches. Come on, Impact. Give her the frickin' Knockouts title already. Please. All right, let's get into Sacrifice then for this mega rant on the show from Friday night. This was in the sold-out gymnasium in Windsor, Ontario's St. Clair College. Sold out for sure. Not a huge venue. I would put it at capacity at probably most at 500. I could not get any information from WrestleTix or any other websites on capacity limits for this place and kind of what the official tally was, but they were touting it as being sold out, and there's no question it was sold out. I didn't see an empty seat anywhere in this building. Very hot crowd. They had not been to Windsor since before COVID, and this is kind of a home base for Scott D'Amore and a lot of other talent in Impact that have been kind of called up or, you know, helped out, trained by Scott D'Amore in Border City Wrestling, which is based, I believe, in Windsor as well. So a lot of stuff going on, a lot of moving parts with the Windsor location, and I can see why it was a hot crowd. They're passionate about Impact. They're passionate about Scott D'Amore, and passionate about all of the homegrown talent of Impact Wrestling that kind of are Canadian-based and things like that. So we kick off the show with a couple pre-show matches on the Countdown show. Eddie Edwards went over Bhupinder Gujjar. Went about 8 minutes on this one. I did 2 3/4. I thought these guys were working pretty hard for the fact they were only given 8 minutes. It was kind of a sprint of a match. This is the hometown of Bhupinder Gujjar as well, so crowd was into that. Boston knee party for the finish, but Gujjar looked really good in this match. He's got some upside, definitely. He's more and more I've seen of him, the more and more I'm starting to get impressed with the work he's doing. Then they talked about the Alexander Mickie James situation. They announced Kushida and Macklin officially on the Countdown show set for Rebellion. They did an interview with Kazarian and Rich Swann. They were skeptical about Steve Macklin being their partner, but they just were not confident in what was going on there. They didn't trust Steve Macklin for sure. Match 2 on the Countdown was Rosemary against Kylan King. This is a follow-up from the Coven defeating the Death Dolls and Taya being dragged back into the alternate universe in that coffin on Thursday in that really wacky segment. They did 9 minutes on this one. I didn't like it as much as the Edwards and Bhupinder Gujjar match, but I still gave it 2 1/4 stars. Just felt like there was a little bit of something here where it's kind of like felt like it was slow motion sometimes in this match. Pay-per-view gets kicked off, And there's no slow motion in this next match. They did a rematch from No Surrender in Vegas with Jonathan Gresham and Speedball Mike Bailey as the open to the pay-per-view. Rightfully so. Good positioning. Great match. They did almost 20 minutes. I went 4 stars. This was the best match, in my opinion, out of the show. Damn good work. This was so much better than that first match they had at the Countdown to No Surrender in Vegas. They just got more time. It was developed better. These guys had no restrictions, and they let it go. It was letting loose in the ring. Couple really awesome spots. There was the somersault double knees in the ring apron. And I'll tell you, Speedball Mike Bailey landed straight with knees on Jonathan Gresham's head. Gresham sold it wonderfully, by the way. The selling in this match was so good. The action, the technical work. Oh man, there's just so much good stuff in this match. There was a knee spot on the apron as well by Gresham to Bailey that looked absolutely brutal. Finish was kind of out of nowhere. Bailey was trying for that those knees to the back finish that he does from the corner of the ring. Didn't get it a few times. There was a spot where Gresham tried a figure 4, and Bailey reversed it into a reverse figure 4 that actually Gresham tapped out during. That was a bit of a surprise on the finish, but good stuff all around. There was respect after the match. I wonder if we're going to see this one more match, maybe on Impact, on Axis. I haven't found out what was additionally taped in Windsor, by the way. I was trying to find that this morning on the internet because I believe it was last night they had the show. So we'll see. When we do laying the rant down later, maybe I will drop some Impact spoilers from the tapings post-sacrifice, see what they have lined up as it pertains to this program with Bailey and Gresham, which is by far the hottest program right now in Impact going on, for sure. 4 stars I went on that match. Check that match out, please. Digital Media Championship is next for match 4. Joe Hendry against Brian Myers. They went 8 minutes and 50 seconds of a match that really couldn't kick it into another gear. I went 2 and 3/4, similar to that opening match with Edwards and Bhupinder Gujjar. It was okay, but it just, something about it I just couldn't get into. There was a cutter off of a dive by Myers that Henry hit. Then he hit that standing ovation for the win on that one. They really need to move on from this program. It's getting real stale. Santino was in the back with Mickie James when they were talking about the changes to the knockout situation for that knockouts title. We talked about that already a little bit in the onset of this rant. Then we get into match 5. This is another rematch from No Surrender. Deonna Purrazzo went over this time on Giselle Shaw. A much improved match from, once again, the match at No Surrender. This was also on the Countdown to No Surrender. This match had a little bit more time, 9 minutes, 41 seconds. I went 3 stars on this one, a slight above average match for sure. Much improved from prior match, like I said. Venus DeMilo for the finish. The big thing to come out of this match was the return of Tasha Steelz, who came out as Savannah Evans was attacking Deonna Purrazzo. Steelz came out, made it appear that maybe she was aligning with Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans, but she was not. So Tasha Steelz effectively did a babyface turn here, and will probably be working both in a tag situation with Deonna Purrazzo against Savannah Evans and Giselle Shaw, and I would guess they'll probably transition that then to a feud with Savannah Evans and Tasha Steelz, which kind of was what they were setting up at least a few months ago. And then I think Tasha Steelz actually left the company for a while, having some contract fallout. I think her contract expired. She was maybe technically a free agent for a while, but she's back in it. Tasha Steelz ready to rock and roll Impact Wrestling. Let's go to match 6, PCO against Kenny King. Okay stuff. I went 3 stars. Definitely around the same level of Deonna and Giselle Shaw for sure. 10 minutes, 38 seconds on the tick on this one. PCO won with a chair punch where Kenny King was going to use the chair. PCO punches the chair, eventually knocks out Kenny King for this one. There's a few interesting spots of PCO in this match, who was very over. Canadian wrestler, Canadian crowd, they loved PCO. PCO was doing the wacky stuff where he was kind of having some sort of like technical malfunction, and he did like a somersault dive to the outside on absolutely nobody. It's just a weird spot that gets the crowd into it a little bit. Good stuff though. And crowd was, I have to mention, this crowd was awesome. Awesome. They were into every moment, every match, every superstar from Impact. They were just engaged on this show for sure. And I think because of that, because they have such a really hot crowd here, they did make the announcement, I believe it was after this match or the match prior or before, or maybe later on the card, but at some point on this show, they announced that the big anniversary pay-per-view every year, Slammiversary, will actually take place from the same venue in Windsor College, St. Clair College. And that should be another hot show. They'll probably try to jam-pack as many people as they can for that one. Slammiversary, I believe, July 15th, I think they announced on that one, right back from the same venue in Windsor, St. Clair College. There also was a vignette. They showed up Jody Threat. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Jody Threat. She's out of Canada. I believe I had seen some work from Jody Threat in AEW Dark. I think that was the woman that got her ass handed to her by Athena back many months ago when they started doing the heel run for Athena. And she also has been doing some independents in the Midwest a little bit here and there. So check that out. Be on the lookout. Jody Threat coming into the Impact Knockouts division, coming soon. Macklin did a promo in the back with Kazarian and Swan, reassuring them that he wasn't going to turn on them in the match or anything. He wanted to prove and get some time in with Kushida to lead into Rebellion. So everything seemed okay on that end with that team going into the main event. Match 7 was for the X Division Championship. This was Trey Miguel over Lince Dorado for the X Division Championship. 11:49 time. They had a little bit more time than some of the other matches prior to this, other than that opener with Bailey and Gresham. Rolling Hurricane Rana for the finish. A little bit out of nowhere on the finish, but solid work here. Dorado can go. Trey Miguel can obviously go. I went 3.25 stars on this match. TMDK did a promo with Gia Miller in the back. This iteration of TMDK on this show was Shane Haste and Bad Dude Tito, who is a member of TMDK as well. So they are the tag team involved in this one, in the upcoming match, which is up next. Match 8 for the tag titles. Bullet Club, Chris Bay, Ace Austin defeated TMDK, Shane Haste, and Bad Dude Tito. Went a little bit higher on this one. This was a pretty good tag match, all action, non-stop. This was kind of a sprint of a match at 12 minutes and 30 seconds. They just kept going and going and going. Like I said, 3.5 stars on this one. Finish was Art of Finesse and the Fold combination on Bad Dude Tito. I believe Ace Austin got the pin on this one. So retaining their championships, Bullet Club. I wonder what they're going to do with the Bullet Club tag title match at the next pay-per-view at Rebellion. Kind of thinking maybe a rematch with the Machine Guns is in order, but we'll see where they go with it. Then we get into a match that was, quite frankly, wrestle crap material. This was a fucking mess. Busted open match. Bully Ray over Tommy Dreamer, 11 minutes, 13 seconds. I gave it a 1.5 stars. I probably disliked this match more than anything on the card. They tried to get creative with some stuff, but everything just felt flat in this match. There was some positive stuff, I guess, by the end of it. We can talk about it in a moment, but the crux of this match was just garbage. There was ref bumps, which was a really hard to believe ref bump that just was elongated and extended far too long, and there was too much bullshit happening in this match. There was thumbtacks, yes, there was weapons, there was some brawling going on, but Dreamer and Bully Ray have just seen better days, no question about it, particularly against each other. Oh my God. One thing to note here, former NHL star Darren McCarty was a part of the ringside. He was front row ringside, and he was involved in this match. I'm guessing this is going to probably lead to maybe this guy having a match in Impact on some level. We'll see where they go with it. But Bully Ray got in his face. He threw a beer in his face. He was trying to be held back to get back in the ring to get after Bully Ray during this match. So the heat already started in the crux of this bout with Darren McCarty. At one point also, the Good Hands, that's the tag team of John, Skyler, and Jason Hotch, they showed up to run amok, especially when the ref bump happened. They kind of got into it with trying to take Tommy Dreamer out. And the fucked up thing here was after the ref bump, Bully Ray actually bled buckets. He bladed like a motherfucking champion. So he was a bloody mess all over the place. Should have lost the match. Ref bump happened. The Good Hands came in, took it to Dreamer, who then also got busted open. After that happened, they gave a towel to Bully Ray to make it look like he really wasn't bleeding. This was all so contrived. Also hard to believe because Bully Ray was bleeding like a fucking bucket. All the referee had to do was take a look at him and realize, hey, he's bleeding too, not just Tommy Dreamer. So it was just referee incompetence, creative, like clusterfuck in this match, just weird shit. So the actual, I enjoyed more of the post-match than the match itself. Like I said, I only gave the match a 1.5 stars. Post-match was much better. So Darren McCarty was challenged by Bully Ray to come in the ring, to get some hands, and gets in the ring, and him and Bully Ray go throwing down like it's a hockey fight. Good Hands run in, they attack McCarty, and then they actually set up a table and powerbomb McCarty through a table for a big pop. And then from that point on, Scott D'Amore shows up. If you recall, he was laid out by Bully Ray, and they'd sold this attack for a while. So Scott D'Amore returns home to Windsor, Canada. The president of TNA Impact showing up with a bunch of baby faces, Mike Bailey, Jonathan Gresham, Lavinder Jagar. I can't remember who all was involved in the melee, but they all came running out, took out the heels. They were celebrating in the ring, and I think it was Jason Hatch, or Jason Hatch ran back in trying to attack Scott D'Amore. D'Amore wasn't having it and fought back and actually pulled off a Canadian Destroyer on Jason Hatch for a huge pop from this Windsor crowd. So real fun stuff in the post-match, but boy, the match itself was ugly as fuck, let me tell you. Real ugly stuff. Alright, so now it's main event time. 6-man tag, 21 minutes, 55 seconds. Time Machine over the team of Kazarian, Rich Swann, and taking the place of Josh Alexander in this match, Steve Macklin. So it's a surprise finish because Kushida actually beat Macklin clean and made him tap out. With the Kimura lock. I did not expect that leading into the match of Sacrifice, but for the match at Rebellion coming up. But it builds more credence to the fact that they're probably going to go with Steve Macklin for this one, especially if he did a clean job to Kushida in this match. Yeah, chances are Macklin is probably going over at Rebellion and going to get that World Championship spot and that run. Match itself, like I said, was okay. I put it at 3 3/4 stars, so this was probably the second best match in the show, but they just couldn't hold a candle to that Mike Bailey and Jonathan Gresham match to open the show. So fans went home happy. Kushida wins. Time Machine wins. Good main event. Good opener. Rough, busted open match. Some of the other matches on this show were probably better than I expected as well. I thought the in-ring was a little bit elevated on this show, so good stuff. One of those shows here with Sacrifice where it's not a must-see, but I have to tell you that it is a must-see to check out that first match on the pay-per-view itself. Speedball Mike Bailey, Jonathan Gresham, folks. Check it out. I'm going to give Sacrifice a solid B for this show. Like I said, the in-ring was a bit elevated. The crowd was very much into this show. And I may even go around a B+ maybe for a final grade on this one. Okay, everybody, that's it for a Sacrifice Mega Rant. We'll come back later for laying the rant down. We're going to be looking at a bunch of different things. We're going to be talking about CM Punk. We're going to be talking about the new AEW show, which has some more information on when and where that's going to possibly debut. Some WrestleMania rumors, and possibly some Impact spoilers if I can find the results from last night's show in Windsor, Ontario, where they taped additional content to lead to Impact Rebellion's pay-per-view. So be on the lookout for that later on, today or tonight. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's nothing but WrestleMania retrospectives right here. WrestleMania 12, WrestleMania 16, and WrestleMania 21 to conclude our retrospective series on the WrestleManias in Southern California. All right, everybody, see you right back here laying the rant down. Coming on down the road later on, Wrestling Rant. See ya!